Cliff is an American journalist. He has been fighting for conservative values all his life, and he'll be our man closing the conclave tonight. Thank you everybody for coming, okay? And Cliff will do the closing tonight. Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you, Dalmo. It's great to be with you. I'm here to share some information I need you to share with me. Consider me your point man in Washington, D.C. We need to get this information out to more and more people. I never knew I had so many friends in Brazil until we did the interview with Olavo on our Roku TV station. Roku is our new vehicle for getting alternative news and information out to more and more people. We've had the show going for about 2 years and is in over 70 countries. All of our TV shows are posted on our YouTube channel. So please remember that. Our information's in the back. All of it is for free. Take our books, take our literature. Please sign up so we can stay in touch with you. The conclusions I've reached so far, even though my Spanish isn't very good and my Portuguese is even worse, is that you've got Marxists running the show in Venezuela and Brazil. Well, I got news for you. We've got a Marxist running the show in Washington, D.C. I've got a friend, Trevor Loudon, who is from New Zealand. And he comes over to the United States for about 6 months a year, telling audiences about the Marxist threat in the United States. He's a great researcher and writer, good friend of mine. We've worked together. And the reason Trevor spends a lot of his time away from New Zealand here in the United States is he knows if the United States goes under, his country's finished. It's in your interest to keep the United States free. You're not going to succeed without a free United States standing up for liberty around the world. You think you've got problems with democracy abroad, with these Marxists using democratic methods to destroy democracy? We've got the same problem here. And it's very serious. We have our own problems with our democratic process. We've got a president, Barack Obama, who could not pass a basic background check for a low-level federal job. We've got a loophole in our system where our founders thought that we would have a major media that would perform the function of an adversary press and check on the qualifications and backgrounds of our candidates for office. They didn't do so with Barack Obama. Our group did so. We developed our own information back in 2008. We not only had documented his connections to communists in Hawaii and Chicago, but we managed to get out of the FBI a 600-page file on Barack Obama's teenage mentor in Hawaii, a Communist Party operative suspected of espionage by the name of Frank Marshall Davis. We released this information before he was elected to his first term, and the media weren't interested, even the, quote, conservative media. I couldn't pay for advertising on the Drudge Report, supposedly a conservative website, to get this information out to the American people. But we persist. We keep going. Because increasingly, people after 6 years of this, similar but not quite so strong as what's been happening in Brazil, people are saying something's wrong here. Something's fishy. There's too much corruption. And it's not just the President of the United States. I speak to you about 1 month away from a Supreme Court case in the United States where 5 justices could decide to impose gay marriage on all 50 states in the United States. Even though we've had 34 states vote for traditional values and vote for traditional marriage. This is the degree of Marxist infiltration of our whole society here. And Obama is just the culmination of that. But it has been happening across the board. I've heard, even though I guess, as I say, my Spanish isn't too good, I kept hearing references here to the São Paulo Forum. And I know I've talked to Olavo about that, and we've written about it ourselves. Let me tell you, the São Paulo Forum has captured our White House. The São Paulo Forum is in charge of the United States. Let me tell you a story. On March 1st, 2008, there was a Colombian military raid in nearby Ecuador that captured a number of FARC terrorists and killed one of the top terrorist leaders, Raul Reyes. And they discovered a computer with him, and they started looking into his computer files and discovered, this is, remember, March of 2008, even before Obama was elected, and they discover references in the files to the FARC terrorists meeting with gringos representing Barack Obama because he wanted to turn the tables on Colombia. He thought the Colombian military had been violating too many human rights. And as we all know, the Colombian military at that point was on the verge of totally destroying and decimating the FARC. The announcement of that raid into Ecuador was made by the defense minister, a guy named Santos, who became president and all of a sudden started negotiating with the FARC. Just a coincidence, I guess. The São Paulo Forum has captured the United States government. 2 years ago, the Brazilian president, Dilma Rousseff, was at the United Nations railing against the NSA. How dare the NSA monitor her telephone? This was an outrage. The surveillance state was after Dilma Rousseff. Well, I'll tell you, as an American who believes in the NSA, she's exactly the type of person who should be under surveillance by the NSA. In fact, when we were covering this issue at the time, we exposed the nature of the surveillance, the fact that it was legitimate. But of course, our problem under our president is we've got a president, Barack Obama, who should be under NSA surveillance. What do you think they were hearing when Dilma Rousseff picked up her phone? Dear Raul, dear Fidel, you know what's going on here. I don't have to tell you. It's much worse than we thought. This is a very serious situation. You know, Ronald Reagan, as president, used to tell the story of back in the old Soviet days of the Cold War, 2 citizens of Moscow, Muscovites, were walking down the road. And the one says to the other, "Are we there yet?" The other says, "Are we where?" The other Muscovite looks at him and says, "Have we gotten there yet?" And the other says, "What do you mean? Have we gotten where?" And the other says, "To the state of pure communism. Are we there yet?" And the other one says, "No, it's going to get a lot worse. We're still on the road to pure communism. And they're going to use any means necessary to get us there. It's going to get a lot worse for us because we got misled. We got confused into thinking that communism was dead after the Soviet Union went away. But as we point out in our book, Back from the Dead, they're back. They're back. Back from the dead. One of the things we do in our group, America's Survival, is try to educate the American people about what communism is and the fact that it hasn't died. That we've got Marxists in power throughout Latin America. They just came to power in Greece. They're moving in on Europe. In addition to Putin's military adventures and imperialism in Ukraine, and they're in the White House today. One of the things we do is we go back to the original source documents. This is a famous Mikhail Gorbachev speech of 1987. Remember Perestroika? And everybody said, oh my gosh, what a forward-thinking Soviet president. This is, we're putting aside all of the old Cold War strategies, and we're embarking on this new era. You know what? Nobody ever bothered to tell you and tell the American people what he said at the end of his speech on Perestroika. Let me read it to you. In October 1917, we parted with the old world, rejecting it once and for all. We are moving towards a new world, the world of communism. We shall never turn off that road. This is Moscow Publishers right here. This is the official version of the speech that we never heard about. In other words, Perestroika and Glasnost, these were deceptions, these were maneuvers. And now they're so sophisticated, as we've heard today, that they have these Smartmatic machines in Venezuela and Brazil to fool us into thinking that they've been legitimately elected. So, where are we going? It's going to get a lot worse, as the guy in that story said in Moscow, but it's going to get a lot worse for us because we don't understand the enemy. We don't read what they're up to. We don't even read their actual speeches to try to understand their plans. Nobody paid attention in 2008 when we revealed all the documents and all the FBI files about Barack Obama's communist mentor and what he had planned for the United States. At the time he said, fundamental transformation. Now we know what he means. He's a true Marxist, and we're on the road of Marxist dialectics to this new world, the world of communism, as Gorbachev put it, right in front of our eyes. Right in front of our eyes. Will we take a look? Will we understand? Or will we be deceived? And here in the United States, as I say, we're getting ready for the Supreme Court to make a ruling on a gay marriage case. One man marrying another man, enshrined into the law by fiat of the Supreme Court of the United States on all 50 states, totally undercutting the votes of 34 states, people in 34 states wanting to preserve traditional marriage. This is the road we're on. And you think you've got it bad in Venezuela and Brazil. Now certainly, you do have it worse. We know about the violence, we know about the terrorism, we know about the protest leaders being imprisoned in places like Venezuela. We're here to help you, we're here to speak for you, to get your information out to more and more people. Let me just close by saying the most troubling aspect of what we face today, in my view, is that the Sao Paulo Forum has not only captured the White House, it's captured the Vatican. This is the troubling aspect of what happens right in front of our eyes. What has happened with Pope Francis. And in order to understand the forces that have impinged upon him, that have molded him, let's go back to the original source material. This is what we do with our students, trying to educate them. Go back and read the Communist Manifesto to understand their plan. And it's not just economic. In the Communist Manifesto, they say directly, Karl Marx did, Frederick Engels, abolition of the family. That's the ultimate target. The nation state, religion, and the family. That's why this gay marriage fight is so important here in the United States for us. Because this is really the ultimate culmination of the Marxist plan, destroying the state, our traditional form of government, our religious values, and finally, the family unit itself. The family unit itself, which is the ultimate bulwark against these socialist schemes. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, pray for the Pope. Let's hope and pray. Get involved locally in your churches. What is your local priest or minister saying? Is he talking about the real issues? Rebuild your church from the bottom up. Thank you.